round of applause for Marina Sirtis.
Can't take me anywhere, honestly. Okay, stop the music. All right, stop the music. I've heard it before. Everyone's heard it before. We know the song. We could sing it. Da 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 da. We know the song. We know the song. Right. We have words to it, which is basically just our names. We go, and Patrick Stewart, and Brett Spiner, and Jonathan Bragg. It fits really nicely. Hello. So obviously Power Rangers are bigger in Jersey than Star Trek.
Really?
Are we in Jersey?
No.
Where are we?
Long Island.
We're in Long Island.
Yes.
Well, you know, actually, it's really funny because when we first started the show, we obviously all the press wanted to talk to us because we were, you know, the reboot of Star Trek, and we got reviewed in virtually every publication imaginable. One of the reviews was in the Rolling Stone magazine, and it said that my accent sounded like I came from Long Island. I'm like, really? Were they watching the same show that I was in? Really? I didn't even know I could do a Long Island accent until they told me. But, I mean, you can't film me. Sorry.
He just
Is
died.
that what is that?
GoPro.
It's a GoPro?
Yes.
Turn it off.
You just
can't
commanded
film
it.
me. You can't film me. You can't film. You know why? Because I'll tell you why. Because I'm honest. Right? I tell it like it is. I don't want proof though that I told you. Because I get into a lot of trouble. Listen, when I left Paramount, they had a party. They're like, she's gone, thank God. Because I'm a big troublemaker. I was always like, you know, we should strike. We should go on strike about this. Oh, shut up, Marina. No, we should really go out on strike. No, Marina, we're not going to go out on strike. Okay. So, anyway, hello, thanks for coming. Why did I think I was in Jersey? Garden City.
That was.
It's
that was
Garden
last
City?
week.
We're Garden City.
Yeah, Garden.
You know what it was? The Garden State. That was what it was. I got confused.
There was
Okay,
one last
all
week.
right.
There was one last week.
So we're near the beach. Is there water near here?
Yeah, about 20
Is
minutes
Jones
away.
Beach near here? Yeah. I've been there. Okay, all right. So, the way this goes is that you ask me questions. You know what? I can still see that effing light on, so don't even.
I don't know. It shut off.
You
already.
must think I'm an idiot. You're pointing that thing at me with the light on.
I don't even know how to use it, so.
Anybody that wants to ask her a question, if we can line up right here, guys, we have a microphone right for you. Any questions you want to ask?
Yeah, and if you don't have questions, it's going to be a really short panel.
Anybody? Question? Anybody? Anybody? Okay, come on.
Come on up.
Go.
What's that? RPG. What is that? Are not PG. That's all right. Put your hands over his ears.
We have earmuffs. It's all right.
Okay. What's your question? You'll ask me later? Oh, is that rude, is it? Okay. 36C. Was that what you wanted to know? Sorry. Nothing compared to this double H over here. That we put in. Is it a double H?
Oh my God. See? You know your size. Oh my God. Whoa.
I'm not drunk, honestly, I'm not. Not till later tonight. Anyway. Yes, dear. Hello.
Hello.
This is really weird. I've never been in this configuration before. Yes, dear.
When you voiced Demona in Gargos, in the episode in which Demona traveled back in time to meet her past self, what was it like arguing with yourself? And did you sympathize with one Demona more than the other?
Okay, first of all, I've never seen gargoyles.
Oh wait, what?
I've never seen it. Never seen it. I tend not to watch myself.
Okay.
Right? I would imagine, though, talking to myself, that's always an actor's dream, to play two parts of the same character. That's like your wish list, you know? I want to play the evil and the good part, you know, that kind of thing, like in the original Trek and all that stuff. But you're late. Come on. And, but I would imagine I enjoyed it, but I don't remember what the two Damonas were like, so I can't answer the second part to that question. Which part did you prefer? You obviously seen it.
Oh yeah, I mean, Damona's my favorite character from the show.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Sure.
You like mean women.
Oh yeah, well, I feel like her pain...
Do you have a girlfriend?
No, I feel
No.
like her pain is very sympathetic.
What's that?
I feel like her pain is very sympathetic.
There's a reason for her pain.
Right.
She's not mean in a vacuum. She's mean for a reason.
Right?
Yeah. And for those of you who don't, I mean, I played a character called Demona in an animated series called Gargoyles. And she was evil, pretty much, really evil. Deanna Troi, really nice. Sweet as can be. I'm more like Demona than Deanna in real life. Have to be honest. Mean as a snake, according to Michael Dorn. He says you're mean as a snake, especially when I've had a drink. Apparently I'm a mean drunk. So, yeah, I'm not like her. I'm not like Deanna at all. In fact, when people say to me, what do you have in common with Deanna? I say, we're the same height. And that's it, really. That's about it. I have to say, however, I really enjoyed playing her because it's the only time pretty much in my career that I played someone nice. I alwaalways used to play bad girls, and then I got Deanna, and then I went back to playing bad girls after Deanna. But I think the reason I got the job, and because to this day, I'm like, I'm so opposite of her. How did I ever get that job? And I suddenly realized, not suddenly, I was on a panel on a Star Trek cruise. Yeah, the only escape is over the side. From you lot. But mind you, I have to say, it's been a long time since I did one. I'm doing another one next year. It's like childbirth. You forget the pain and then you do it again. Right. So, not that I know about childbirth, but anyway, I have dogs, which you don't have to give birth to, or send to college, so it all works out. But anyway, so I was on a panel with Gene Roddenberry, God rest his soul, on this Star Trek cruise, and someone said to him, who has changed the most since they got cast on the show? And this was at the end of the first season. And he said, without blinking, he said, Marina. When we first met Marina, she was this little shy English wallflower. I was like, is there another Marina on the show that I don't know about? What happened was, I was so nervous, I had to do 6 auditions. And you know, with every audition, you're getting closer and closer to your dream part, you know? So by the final audition, where you have to go in and audition in front of all the studio, all the big wigs at the studio, they have the last say. By the time I went into that audition, I was so nervous, I could hardly speak. I mean, I was shaking with nerves. And I realized now that the reason I got the job was because the real Marina didn't come through, because I was so nervous. They only saw the quiet, terrified Marina. They met the real Marina pretty soon after that. And they were like, holy cow, what did we do? But they love me, really, they do. I don't let anything pass. My feeling is, if you don't tell people they're stupid, how are they going to know? Right? That's my philosophy of life. And I love to go to the red states and talk politics. And LeVar Burton will say to me, Marina, you can't say that. You're a Democrat. You can't say that in Atlanta. And I'm like, I have to say it in Atlanta. Because where I live in California, everyone agrees with me. I have to turn just one person in the audience. Just one person. If I turn one person, my work is done. Right? Yes, yes. So we have to go and spread the word in the red states, because they're all... I love the way they found a word for ignorant people in the last election. Low information voters. New word for ignorant people. Anyway, so let's do Star Trek now. Yes, dear.
Hi, my name is Matt. I've been a huge fan of Star Trek. It was one of my very first sci-fi shows that I ever watched. It was an honor watching you.
Thank you.
My question is, what was your favorite performance on Star Trek or any program that you worked on, show?
Me?
Yeah.
My own personal favourite? Okay, well, apart from apart from the certain shows, there were certain episodes of Star Trek where I was possessed by an entity.
Yeah.
That was always fun. They were never nice entities. They were always mean entities. And so that was always fun to play something different. And I always say, why do they always pick my body to inhabit? And then I saw my body, because it's not the same body anymore, trust me. And I'm like, yes, I would go for that body too if I was an entity. Yes, I would. Absolutely. Old Baldy, oh, excuse me, Sir Old Baldy. He used to, and I call him that, he used to get a bit annoyed with me because, as I said, I don't make anything pass. And so one of my favourite things to do when he was on the show, when he was like, we were on the bridge, and he would stand there and he would go, I am Jean-Luc Picard of Starship Enterprise. I'd be sitting behind him going, Patrick, take your hands off your hips. You look like a Nancy boy. Go, shut up, Marina, shut up. But my favourite part that I ever played is something none of you have seen because it went straight to DVD, and it was a movie called Green Street Hooligans 2. It wasn't even the first one. It was the second. It was the sequel, and it was in the original. It was Ethan Hawke. Not Ethan Hawke? No, Elijah Wood. I get them mixed up, sorry. One of those young American actors. And it was Elijah Wood, and it was about these two soccer hooligan gangs that ended up in the same prison, and I was the evil prison guard in the men's prison. She was horrible. She was vile. There was not a redeeming bone in her body. She was running the drugs in the prison, she was beating people up, she was getting people beaten up. She was fantastic. I couldn't wait to get to work every morning. It was great. And when one of the extras, oh sorry, we're not allowed to call them extras anymore, it's not PC. One of the atmosphere said to the director, well, Marina's like a big butch lesbian, right? And he went, no. And he told me, and I went, yes! My work is done. I nailed it. Yes. So that was my favourite part ever. Because she was just horrible, and it was lovely to be that horrible and be paid for it. Not a lot, but something, yeah.
I do have one more question.
Okay, sweetheart.
How easy is it to play like a bad guy? I know that certain actors, like for example, Jack Gleason, who was the former Joffrey, played a villain very excellently, rather than how they are in real life. Which one was the most difficult for you?
For me, keeping Marina out of Deanna was the most difficult. Really, that was the biggest challenge, to not let any of my personality come through into hers, because she, you know, like I said, we were nothing alike, and she's so sweet. I tried to make her funny, and Jonathan would say, don't do that, she's not funny. Troy's not funny. Until First Contact, and suddenly she's the comic relief in First Contact. In the drunk scene, which I have to say is one of my favourite scenes ever that I was in on Star Trek. But I did say to the producers when we shot that film, I said, you know, we did 7 years and then we did 2 movies, and it wasn't until the second movie that I was allowed to be funny. How did that happen? And he said, well, there's a line in the scene where you say to Riker about Ephraim, what's his name? That's it, yeah. And I've gone through the menopause. My brain has turned to mush. I'm sorry, I don't remember anything anymore. But Zephram Cochrane, I said to Riker about him, I've been trying to keep his hands off me for the last 20 minutes, right, in the scene. And Rick Berman said, well, if the boys had said that line, it would have been a whole different movie. So that was why I got to say that good line. Thank you, Matt. God bless, sweetheart.
Hi.
They make you like do an obstacle course before you get to the microphone.
I know. My question is, who did you find the easiest to work with on set, and who did you find the most difficult?
Okay, and this is the honest truth. We laughed non-stop for 7 years. We laughed and laughed and laughed. And we had one director in the first season, no names, who directed 2 shows, and then he refused to ever come back because we were too rowdy. And we all got called, and this was when Tasha was still on the show, so this was early, right? So we all got called into Tasha's quarters, and we were told off hugely by Rick Berman, our executive producer, that this was unheard of in Hollywood, that a director would refuse to work with actors because they were so badly behaved. What they didn't understand was, yes, we were badly behaved, but we were all prepared. We all knew our lines, we all hit our marks. It's just that we all were yakking and laughing until the director said action, and then we would act. And then as soon as he said cut, we'd start laughing and joking again. And the directors who got it loved us, and the directors who didn't get it hated us. And actually, Patrick, to begin with, was a little bit up his own bum when we started. Very serious actor. In fact, when we were told off that day, Denise said to Rick, you know, Rick, sometimes we're here for 18 hours a day. If we're not having fun, you know, it's going to be like torture. And Patrick said, and I quote, "And where, Denise, does it say in our contract that we're here to have fun?" So that was Patrick at the beginning. We beat that out of him in about 6 months. And now he's the silliest one of all of us. He's a very silly man, and I think people who've met him can attest to how silly he is. Very silly man. But no, there were a few guest stars we didn't like, because they didn't learn their lines. You know, we're there, you know, every day, and we learn our lines, and you come in for a week and you can't be bothered to learn your lines. Not acceptable. Not acceptable. And there were some girls who were a bit too pretty that I was mean to, you know, that kind of thing. There was one girl, and I met her again recently, and this was the first season, it must have been, no, it wasn't this, it was second season when I had that really bad nylon wig, $60 wig, they really went to town, $60 nylon wig, and we had a guest star that one episode, and they put the exact same wig in blonde on her head, right, and she came onto the set and she goes, "Marina, we have the same hair." And I mean, yes, we do. Straight into that makeup trailer, get that effing wig off her head now. That wig came off so fast, that girl got a facelift. Yes, dear. So no, there was no one really that didn't get along. We all got along.
Okay.
And we're all still best friends.
Great.
Yeah. As opposed to Deep Sleep 9,
Yeah, I kind of snoozed. Right, episode.
right, until Dorney came on the show, and then it kind of perked up a bit. But anyway, it's better than what Jonathan calls it, Deep Throat 9, so I think I'm pretty good. But you have to know the history of the show to really get that joke. See, this is what I mean about why you can't film me, all right? I mean, I would go visit Terry Farrell. Terry Farrell was a best friend of mine before she ever got cast on Star Trek. In fact, I suggested her for Dax. So she actually owes me 10% of all her money. But I used to go visit Terry because we overlapped for 2 years, and I would leave my set, and my set was like a kindergarten at recess, and I would go over to Deep Sleep 9, and it would be like, did someone die? You could hear a pin drop in there. And then, of course, because they had inherited our crew, like our cameramen and soundmen and stuff like that, they got our crew and we got a new bunch. They would all see me and they'd come up and they'd start talking, and it would gradually get louder and louder and louder, and the director would go, who came on the set? Who's on the... Oh, it's you, Marina. So it was very different. We were the only show of all the incarnations of Star Trek where everybody got along. Everybody got along. There will never be a book written by any of us, because there isn't a publisher in America that wants to publish a book that says we all loved each other. They want dirt and scandal and stuff like that, and there wasn't any, because there was no hanky-panky either. Nothing going on behind the scenes with us. Occasional guest star, but none of the actual... In the first season, before I met my husband, I have to say. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Dorna used to call me space whore. It's because English girls are easy, what can I tell you? Anyway, you're like, I'm looking at you, you're like this. We came to see Deanna Troi and we got this person instead.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, darling.
I'm not really sure if this is going to be an interest after what you just said, but so a while back I had a bit of unfortunate experience with one of your co-stars.
Was that old Baldy?
No, as I said before, I didn't meet him because he asks for too much damn money.
Oh, yeah.
He was going to get one of the other guys, and I was trying to like tell him this thing about how the impact he had on my life, and he just kind of brushed me off. He was like, I said made a reference to a part two of a part one of an episode that had a huge impact on me, and he said I'm only familiar with part two, and walked away. After I just spent $40 on his autograph.
Okay, you're going to whisper to me who that was later.
Okay.
And I'm going to give him a slap when I see him.
It's still one of my absolute favorite characters, but I'm a little.
Yeah, can I tell you
On the-
something? I tell him off. I tell him off. And I have told off Patrick before when he's mean to the fans. And I have told off other of my fellow thespians. I have to remind them, and I have to remind a lot of Hollywood actors sometimes, we're not successful in a vacuum. You know, we're not successful because we're brilliant actors. We're successful because you guys watch us. We're successful because of the public. And I think that we owe you everything. Everything. So I've always said that I won't stand for that when I see my, you might have caught him on her or him on a bad day. Listen, whoever came up to me first thing this morning, they got me grumpy too. Because I only got 2 hours sleep last night, and the coffee at the hotel was like light brown water. So without sleep and my coffee in the morning, I am not pleasant, right? So, and I was a bit mean to a couple of the fans who came up, but it goes. It goes. Are you here?
He left.
Loves mean too? No, see, they didn't come. No, they still love me. They still love me. They came and had their photo taken with me. But no, it's sometimes you have to remember people have bad days. We're human. Issues in private life, whatever, that can have an impact. But I personally feel that we owe you guys everything. So we should be nicer to you.
The other thing is because right before he was doing an interview.
Oh, it was a he. Okay, that's eliminated Gates McFadden.
He was doing
Okay.
an interview right before where he was being very intentionally pompous.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
And I was like, I wait. There wasn't anyone online, so I was just waiting very patiently to meet him because he said because of this one episode, it was this one episode that made me a Trekkie.
Okay.
And if it wasn't for that, my whole life would have been completely different.
There you go.
And
See?
so I'm really I kind of want to just kind of tell him this one little thing. I got his autograph, and I said, I'm a Trekkie because of Time Zero Part 1, and he's like, I'm only familiar with Part 2, and then walked away. And I think I kind of gave it away with that one, didn't I?
Yeah. I know who that is now. I will talk to them. Yeah, I will have words next week when I get home. Any more questions? Just put your hands up. I can hear you. You don't have to come down. Yes, love.
Are you going to do another NCIS?
I hope so. I was supposed to do the last episode of the season, last season. For those of you who don't know, I show up occasionally now on NCIS as the head of Mossad, right? And she's mean too. She's really mean. But she's great. She's great. In fact, I remember I actually punched a fan. I was just saying I wasn't mean to my fans. I punched a fan recently because he said to me, "Why did they make you look so ugly on NCIS?" Boom! I'm like, "Do you have a girlfriend?" No. Well, I'm not surprised if that's the way you talk to women. Well, why would you say that to any woman, let alone an actress? We're vain. We're vain. We're really vain. You can't say that to an actress. So anyway, I have punched a fan before. But what was the question? Oh, NCIS, right? Yeah. So, yes, I hope so. But I think what happened was, because of the whole Israel situation, the studio said they didn't like the storyline. So I didn't do it. So hopefully I'll be back next season. Yeah. I was supposed to be in it a lot with Ziva. And then she quit.
Yeah.
Just selfish.
Yeah, I know.
But she was awesome on the show.
She was.
What a good actress as well. I was very impressed with her. Very impressed. Yes, love.
Hi. First of all, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Hello.
I'm a big fan. I wanted to ask you, how comfortable was what you wore? It was beautiful. I loved it.
You loved it?
Yes.
Okay. The only good thing about the show ending was that I was finally, after 7 years, able to breathe out. Spandex from head to toe, not great. You know, and of course the boys all started off in spandex, and then Patrick complained because he was getting, because it's a onesie basically what we were wearing, yeah. And he was saying he was hurting the strain on his shoulders and all that. So they made the boys the two-piece suits, you know. So that's why all the boys did the Picard maneuver all together.
Pull top.
But the girls were in the spandex. What's really another kind of slightly interesting story was when we were going to shoot, I think it must have been Insurrection, went in for my costume fitting, and Bob Blackman, the designer, said, now, you know, Marina, that the official Starfleet uniform is now what they wear on DS9. So that's what you're going to be wearing in Insurrection. And I went, no. And he went, Doctor Who in the house. Doctor Who in the house. I went, no. He went, no, you don't understand. That's the Star Trek uniform now. I said, I don't care. I'm not wearing it. He's like, why? I said, Terry Farrell is 6 feet tall and like a stick insect. And even she looks fat in that outfit. No woman looks good with elastic around her waist, right? Right. I'm not wearing it. On the phone, Marina's refusing to wear the costume. Okay, well, what does she want to do? I said, I'll tell you exactly what I want to do. Make me my spacesuit and then just put the Deep Space Nine shoulders on it. Easy peasy, right? So I get home, phone's ringing, it's Gates. She's like, can you believe what they're making us wear in Insurrection? It's so ugly. And I went, I'm not wearing it. She went, what do you mean you're not wearing it? I said, well, I refuse to wear it. She went, I'll call you back. And then she's on the phone. So this was me, causing trouble all the time. Any more questions? Yes, love.
Okay, so Denise Cockfield recently did a stint in Walking Dead.
Yes.
I was wondering if there's anything on right now that you'd like to be in, that you're like, I can do that better. Like
I can do that better. Game of Thrones. Oh my God. Am I the only British actress that isn't on Game of Thrones, really? I'm so upset that I'm not in Game of Thrones, because I read the books and I want to be in Game of Thrones, but there's only one part I could play the Diana Rigg role and not be quite as old as her. Well, I am 60, so yeah, I am grandmother age, you know, although I know you say she doesn't look it. Don't say. Thank you. According to Michael Dorn, I have some Negro in me. Because, you know, black don't crack. Amen. So I always say, you know, Greece, I'm of Greek descent. Greece is literally across the Mediterranean from North Africa. Quite feasible I could have some Negro in me, right? Quite feasible. So, and if I do, that's why I have the good skin. But anyway, what was I saying before that? See, the menopause has just fried my brain, I'm sorry. Game of Thrones, yeah, I love Game of Thrones. Actually, there's a really good show that just started that I am really fascinated with. And I would like to be on it too, because everyone's mean on it. And that is a show called Unreal.
Oh. Yes.
It's a dramatization of like a show like The Bachelor. And it was written by a woman or a man, I don't know, written by a person who worked on The Bachelor. So it's all based in truth. And you need to see, for those of you who like reality television, that's the biggest oxymoron ever. For those of you who like watching those shows that are supposed to be reality, it's good, you should watch it because it just shows you that nothing is real on those reality shows, nothing. The other shows that I like, I do like myself a good murder mystery. So all those shows on BBC America, like Midsummer Murders and Inspector Lewis and all these like, you know, cop shows. I like murder mysteries too. And I always wanted to be on Law and Order. I love Law and Order, but they always used to cast it out of New York, so I never got to be on it.
Oh.
Yeah, because I live. What's that?
There's another season coming.
Of what?
No.
No, not SVU. The real one. The real one, the original one.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm really good. Actually, I have to tell you something about SVU. Mariska Hargitay was number 2 for Troy. I know. I went to her 21st birthday party the day I got the job, right? Went to her 21st birthday party, and she had just auditioned for my part. Because there might have been, because I'm English, there might have been an issue with work permits and, you know, all that. So they were still auditioning people just in case I couldn't get a work permit. So she had just auditioned, and she was telling all the people at the party, I just auditioned for Star Trek and I think I got it, right? And my roommate who took me to the party was like, tell her you got the job. I'm like, no, I'm not going to tell her I got the job. It's her 21st birthday, for God's sake.
Right.
I'm not going to ruin her birthday party. But yeah, she was number 2. She was number 2 for the job. She ended up making way more money than me. She's making stupid money on SVU now, yeah. We never made stupid money on Star Trek, which is why we're all still schlepping around the conventions.
Right.
Just bear that in mind. Okay, next question. Anybody else? Yo, okay. Yo, okay.
We're in the nosebleed seat.
Okay, well, you know, you can come down.
You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Fine.
In all seriousness,
Really?
No.
yeah, no, really. After we've lost so many of the original crew of, you know, the original series, do we dare hope that we'll see perhaps these characters, Deanna Troi and the rest of you lot, perhaps in the Abrams franchise or somehow before we start
Before we
losing
die?
some of
Before
them?
we die, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, no, you look wonderful.
But I could drop down dead any minute. You never know. I could be walking down the street and the piano falls on my head, really.
You were when you were Deanna Troi, and she was awesome, and you're still awesome.
Thank you.
No doubt about that. But seriously, you know, Patrick's getting on, everybody, not dying, but I mean, you know.
We're old. Okay.
No, we won't see any of those characters again.
Listen, I don't think you're going to see us in the movie incarnations because JJ doesn't like us.
That's horrible. Why?
JJ, and you know what? I'm not making this up because he was on Jon Stewart. And so I'm quoting what he said on Jon Stewart. And Jon Stewart said to him, asked him, you know, were you always a fan of Star Trek? And JJ said, no, I never liked it. It was too philosophical for me. Right, yeah, too philosophical for me. But when I was in college, all my college friends watched it. And when I started writing professionally, all my fellow writers watched it. I'm pretty much the only guy who didn't like, you know, I didn't like Star Trek. Jon Stewart, God bless him, I love Jon Stewart, goes, I'm sorry, I didn't hear anything after I don't like Star Trek. So yeah, we're never going to show up in a JJ project. In fact, we didn't even get invited to the premieres of the movies. I went anyway because I went anyway because Jonathan was invited because he knows JJ socially. They have a house near each other up in Maine, right? So they know each other. So Jonathan got invited. You know, Jonathan's married to Jeannie Francis. Jeannie couldn't go to the premiere, so Jonathan called me that morning and said, do you want to come to the Star Trek premiere with me? And I went, absolutely. So I went with him, dug up an old dress. But they said, have I been photographed in this before? I'll wear it back to front, they'll never know. Good trick, girls, good trick. Wear it back to front, they'll never know. So I went to the premiere, And when Jonathan introduced me to JJ was a little embarrassed, shall we say. And he said to me, what did you think of the movie? And I said, well, I wanted to hate it, but actually I quite enjoyed it. And he was shocked. He looked at me, and Jonathan goes, you don't know Marina, she's the one who speaks her mind. So I know for a fact that JJ doesn't really like us, so we're not going to appear. But when they do the reboot of TNG, yeah, well they will. If they did a reboot of the original show, they may do a reboot of TNG down the line. I'm thinking Mila Kunis should be Deanna Troi. Do we like that? Do we like that? Yeah. I think that would be good casting. And apparently, this got around. I've said this before, and in an interview, someone said to her, Marina Sirtis thinks that you should be the Deanna Troi in the reboot. And she went, wow! So, I'm like, she knows who I am. So this is how actors are the most insecure people in the world. You'd think it would be the opposite, because we're always like showing off, but we're not. But anyway, so that would be my preference. Do you have another question down there? Okay.
So I know Michael Dorn has been trying to get a new series up and running.
No.
Not going to happen.
No?
No. Paramount pretty much has told everybody there's not going to be another TV series while they're making movies. They feel that it diminishes the movies if there's a TV show on.
Yep.
What?
So now I hate Abrams all the more.
No, I'm not saying that. I'll get back in Hollywood, I'll never work again. So, yes, darling.
What did Mariska say when she found out that you stole her role?
Oh, you know what? I was friends with Mariska, so I know her, and I never told her the story until last year. I ran into her at the SAG Awards. And I finally told her the story, and she thought it was hysterical, right? And then after the award shows, you go to all these different parties, and I went to the HBO party or the Miramax party, and she was there, and I walked past her, and she was telling Hilary Swank the story, right? And as I walked past, she went, here she is, this is her, like that, and she pulled me down. One of the biggest thrills of my life was Alec Baldwin saying to me that he had imagined having intergalactic sex with me. When he was young, he was cute. Very cute. Next question. Yes, dear.
Hi, would you get into a show like Star Trek? Your popularity hits the ceiling. When that happens, you have all media sort of digging up stuff that you did in the past. Did you ever have an incident like that when you were on Star Trek, you wished you didn't do a role that you did someplace or a movie that you didn't do someplace?
Can I tell you something? I don't believe in living your life in regret. I really don't. It's wasted, it's a negative energy. You can't change the past. I find it really absurd to have regrets. If you learn from your mistakes and move on, that's wonderful. I did a lot of films, not a lot of films, I did 2 or 3 films as a younger actress where I did take my clothes off. Because I mean, they weren't porn, they were just movies that I had to, get naked in. I feel actually very fortunate that it was back then, 40 years ago, and not now, because all I had to do was take my clothes off. These days, they have to simulate the act, which is horrifying to me. I'm like, in fact, I fast forward through that, generally. Don't you? I don't need to see that. I don't need to see the humping and the grinding and the panting. Really. We know what goes on, right? So I don't want to see that. So I feel really lucky that I don't have to do that anymore. And at my age, no one's going to ask me to take my clothes off anymore. No one wants to see this tired old body. So basically, the only thing that it stopped me from considering doing is going into politics. Because there are too many naked pictures of me out there. And those damn Republicans that bring them up and show them all over the place. And, I'd be like Jezebel, So that's pretty much I would love to go into politics, but, I'm still thinking about it. So, yeah, I'm still thinking about it.
Marina, we have about 10 minutes left, just so you know, hon.
Okay,
Thank
who's
you.
that? Who's that?
It's Rob up here in the booth, the voice of God up here.
Where are you going? Oi! Oi! Where are you going? Bathroom. Really? You can't wait 10 minutes? Put a knot in it. Yes, love.
So I have a statement and a question.
Okay.
Question obviously is the two films.
What's the two film? I'll tell you, I don't care. Actually, I was in a movie called The Wicked Lady and listen, no one would have turned this job down. I was working with Faye Dunaway, Alan Bates, and John Gielgud. Hello? Right? Would you turn that job down just because you have to get naked? No. The part that was a little off was the fact that Faye Dunaway whipped my clothes off.
Where can
Right.
you get this movie?
You can get it. She whipped my clothes off. Well, she whipped my top off. Then there was a movie called Blind Date, not the comedy. This is the movie called Blind Date with Kirstie Alley. And I get naked in that too. I think that, and then Death Wish 3.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So they were good films. They weren't like sloppy films. You know, they were like proper feature films. You know, so I don't regret it. In fact, when I'm looking back and going, God, I looked good back then, didn't I? My boobs were perfect before gravity. Yes, love.
Statement really quickly. I know what you said about J.J. Abrams. I'm probably going to get booed for this. To some degree, I was similar. Like, I wasn't really into Star Trek because of the philosophy and all that. But to be honest with you, it's the characters that got me into watching it later.
Right.
Like, you know, like your character, and I go back and I remember his name, Hawk. I call him Hawk because I remember him from
TJ Hawk.
TJ Hooker, he played Hawk.
Who played Hawk?
William Shatner?
Shatner?
No.
Avery. Was it TJ Hooker? I didn't remember that. Spencer for Hire. That's right, yeah. Spencer for Hire. That's right. Right. Right.
So he actually got me to watching the
So you only watch things with black people in them? Oh, okay. All right. No, because listen, Michael Dorn doesn't watch TV because there's not enough black people on television. And I totally agree with him. There's not enough black people on television. And actually, it's really wrong. I mean, listen, I love Emma Stone as much as the next person. She should not have been in Aloha. She's not Asian. Supposed to be Asian. Sorry. Sorry.
I agree.
Not good. Not good. Yes, love.
My question is, before you were talking about how J.J. Abrams didn't like the philosophical aspects, do you think, because I know you like new movies, do you think it kind of has that same feel, the same kind of intellectual feel to the show?
That'd be ridiculous. Intellectual? Have you seen the last two movies? Okay. Not much intellectual about it. It's an action movie. It's an action adventure movie with a lot of explosions, and it's very loud. And there's not really a lot of character development because it's all about fights and the explosions and the space battles and all that stuff. And they changed history.
Yeah.
You know, that to me was the utmost in disrespect. This show has been going on for 40 years or 50 years or whatever it was when he made those movies. And then he decides that suddenly he's reinventing the wheel, right?
First Contact was the best Star Trek ever.
First Contact was the best Star Trek movie ever. Yes, I agree. Absolutely.
Save the Whales.
The Save the Whales one was good too.
Those two were the best.
Yeah.
Under Jonathan Frank's First Contact. That was tremendous chemistry. That was intense.
It was, you know, I agree. I think a lot of people would say Wrath of Khan was one of the best movies too. Yeah. So I'm not going to go against that. I'm glad that none of y'all. Oh, sorry, I'm not in the South. I'm glad none of you have said anything about what was I going to say? It's gone now. I've made a joke and gone. It's gone. It's gone. It'll come back to me. It'll come back to me. Ask me another question. It'll come back to me. What I was going to say. Yes, love.
So, for me,
the character Deanna Troi was a big deal for me, like being a little girl and seeing strong women in sci-fi. That's what cultivated my love for it today as an adult. Looking back at the character, is there anything or any event you would have liked to have seen happen with Deanna, or anything you would have changed?
Okay, that's a really good question. You learn from hopefully you learn in life from every experience. And what I learned from doing TNG for 7 years was that the writers appreciate a little input because they're working their asses off and they're rewriting every day. So I don't know if you know how it works in Hollywood, but every time there's a rewrite, the pages are a different color, right? So that you know where, it's a new page in the script. Well, we ended up with scripts that looked like a rainbow. Really, they looked like a rainbow because there were so many different colours, pages in there, because they're rewriting constantly. I mean, sometimes, a couple of times it happened, we got the rewrite after we'd shot the scene. Too late, we've done it, but that's how hard they're working. And I used to say to them, come on, give me something different. I mean, what is her, what are her hobbies? What is her background? What is her history? And they would go, Marina, what do you want? Come up with something, we'll write it. And I would say, listen, I'm an actress. You're the writer. It's your job. It's a big mistake. Because the people who did come up with ideas, Brent came up with a lot of ideas, Bob Picardo in Voyager came up with a lot of ideas. The writers really appreciated the input, gave them something to work with. I mean, they're trying to think of stuff for all the characters in the show and all the guest stars. So any input from the regulars on the show is much appreciated. They're not, they're not arrogant, they're not kind of self-important. They really would have appreciated it. So now what I've learned is, next time I get a series, I will do that. I will give them my input, and if I have any ideas, because I think out of all the characters, Deanna was the one we knew the least about. I mean, I always say, Worf was an orphan. He had more bloody relatives than the rest of us put together. For an orphan, right? He had relatives coming out of the woodwork. So parents and brothers and all kinds of stuff. So I would get kids. He
married.
He ended up bad, in jail and everything. Oh, by the way, for those of you who don't know, the reason Michelle isn't here this weekend is she had a stroke.
Yes.
So she sends her apologies, and she'll see you next time. Because she's back home now, so fingers crossed that she'll get better. Okay.
Marina, we gotta tie it up, darling.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
So before I go, I did mention this briefly before. Well, who's waiting to come on? Who's out there waiting? But you know what? The costume contest is a very important part of the convention. I know this because I've been a judge in the costume contest before, so I don't do it anymore. I don't do it anymore. It's 3 hours of your life you never get back. So anyway, before I go, I did mention this briefly when I was talking about the person who was mean to wherever he is. I want to thank you, I really do, from the bottom of my heart, because every blessing I have in my life, my husband, American, I live in America. I've lived in 2 years, hang on a minute. What, how? In 4 years, I will have lived in America longer than I lived in England. So this is my country now. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for every blessing in my life. I owe it all to you, and I'll never forget it. God bless you all. God bless you.
Let's hear it one more time, guys, for Marina Sirtis.